Hey everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. So I wanted to come to you guys with another video because there's this beef brewing between Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union. And what this just reminds me over and over again, a slap in the face to black women once again, is that we cannot keep putting the cape on for everybody because nobody ever puts the cape on for us. All right. And the case in point of Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union. Now, you might recall that Gabrielle Union used to be a judge on America's Got Talent, right? And her contract was not renewed. In other words, she was fired after she made claims, and several claims, of it being a toxic work environment, including the fact that, they kept complaining about her hair, all right, which is definitely specific to a black woman, right? They were worried that she just had too many different hairstyles. She just made a lot of claims of just being a toxic place where they would make racist jokes, all kinds of stuff, right? They just made it uncomfortable for her, not only as a woman, but specifically a black woman. And so when all of these allegations came out, when it kind of surfaced, her contract was not renewed, right? And a lot of people were in support of her. A lot of people are still in support of her. And Terry Crews is a host on America's Got Talent. All right. And so most recently, he sat down with the third hour of the Today Show, and they asked him about Gabrielle Union's specific claims, as well as his experience on the show. And I want to go ahead and show you guys what he said and why there's a rift brewing between the two of them. Go ahead and listen to this audio, guys.
Ask you about the Gabrielle Union controversy. Of course, there are reports that her contract wasn't renewed because she reported a toxic atmosphere existed at the show. You're at the show. Is there a toxic atmosphere?
First of all, I can't speak for sexism because I'm not a woman, but I can't speak on behalf of any racism comments. That was never my experience on America's Got Talent. In fact, it was the most diverse place I have ever been in my 20 years of entertainment. The top 10 acts were Asian, women, older, younger, black, white. It was everything in the gamut. Now, I have to say this too. When you look at what the allegations are about, it was given by an unnamed source. My thing is, it's funny because I believe you should listen to women. You should always believe women. So I asked my wife what I should do. And she was like, first of all, if it's coming from an unnamed source, because Gabrielle Union has not made any statement to this day about any of these allegations publicly. So
have you spoken to her?
I have not. I have reached out, but I have not heard anything. And so my thing was, my wife said, well, if she hasn't made a statement, why would you? Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to her.
We should mention that NBC is still investigating and that they have said that they will put new practices into place if necessary.
So, as you can hear, instead of Terry Crews stopping at, no, I've never experienced sexism because I'm not a woman. Now, when I first heard him speak, I thought to myself, well, I think people are coming down a little too hard on him simply because, this is when I first took it in. I was like, well, it's fair to say that he didn't experience the same thing she did. So you can't assume that just because two people work in the same exact place, that they're having the same exact experience. I believe Gabrielle Union 100%. And I do think that her as a black woman probably did, in fact, experience something completely different than what he experienced because he doesn't understand that as a black woman. He made that clear in the first part. But the second part, I just feel like, dude, you just threw this black woman under the bus. You absolutely did by just making like, oh, there is just no racism there. There couldn't possibly be any racism there. I've never experienced racism. We have people of all different colors and kinds. And no, there's so, and this is coming from an anonymous source. And I'm thinking to myself, no, even though she may not have just made an explicit statement, it's her. It wasn't anonymous. Gabrielle Union said all those things. Okay. She ain't denied any of it. So absolutely certain that that was her. And my thing is, if he wanted to save himself and save his job, he could have just shut the hell up. Like, he could have just ended it, in my opinion, at, no, I wouldn't know what that's like, but I wish her well. But no, he went out of his way to pretty much throw her under the bus and pretty much dismiss anything that she has alleged at that place. Now, again, I get he works there, and I understand that he has to save himself. That's understandable, but he could have done that differently. He could have just shut the hell up and not said anything at all. He could have just said, I'm praying for her. I hope everything works out. I stand with Gabrielle Union, or in a way that would have saved him, if that, because clearly that's what he wanted to do, but also not dismiss her. And I'm saying that because I remember there was a time when he was Me Too'd, as he claimed he was, grabbed by the junk, and who came out and supported him explicitly? Gabrielle Union. Do you remember when the Me Too movement was hot and heavy? And he was like, this man grabbed my junk. And while everybody else was out here making fun of him, Gabrielle Union was supporting him. Now, this is what Gabrielle Union said when that clip aired. She said, can someone please ask about what happens to all that diversity folks are talking about behind the scenes? Like, legit, where the hell is all that diversity in the production, though, homie? In the decision-making ranks, who control the fate of the diversity in front of the camera? Let's also talk about where the diversity is in the hair and makeup department for contestants that does not reflect all that diversity that hits the stage. Let's Google the execs that run the show and ask follow-up. How about that egregious lack of diversity? Let's discuss the facts. Man, we all agreed to let the investigation be completed before speaking, but if we're doing this, oh baby, let's go. So Gabrielle Union was not playing games with Terry Crews. She was pissed. And a lot of people were pissed, but it's because it's like, dude, she was one of the first people that supported you when people were making fun of you for getting your junk grabbed in front of your wife. You said that this exec came up and grabbed your penis in front of your wife and you didn't do anything. And while men was out here clowning you, remember you got into it with D.L. Hewley, right? And who came to your defense? Black women was like, oh, Terry, we stand with you. We support you. Gabrielle Union was one of the main people that was out here standing with this man, supporting him in that moment. This is another thing she said. She said, some people will never get it, but not for lack of info or firsthand accounts, but due to willful ignorance and fear they see themselves somewhere in the account. And then she wrote what he had. Why didn't you say something? I did. Why didn't you push him off? I did. Why didn't you cuss him out? I did. Why didn't you tell the police? I did. Why didn't you press charges? I did. Why didn't you just let it happen? I didn't. All right. So she remembers when she was standing with Terry Crews. She was standing with Terry Crews when he said he was assaulted. All right. And this is just another example of how Black women be going out of our way to always stand with our men when they don't even stand with us a lot of times. And I'm not putting a blanket statement on all Black men, so don't come on here, all that shit. I'm just saying that it's been so many cases where Black women will put on the cape and stand with our Black men, and then they just throw us under the bus or dismiss us. How many times have we stood with like Kanye? We're like, oh, Kanye West, we still love you, blah, blah, blah. He's still, at the end of the day, because he Black, we gonna stand with this Black man. But how many times have they just kind of thrown us under the bus? How many times? I mean, Terry Crews was tap dancing on the Today Show. He was tap dancing like, there is no racism I've never experienced. Again, at first I was like, okay, let's be fair. It is possible that he didn't have the same experience as Gabrielle Union. That is fair, because it is possible that he did not. He's not going to experience the same things as a Black woman, because I do think a Black woman would get it a lot harsher than this man in this particular environment. Just like there are instances where I'm sure Black men get it much harder in certain circumstances, right? Like, for instance, in the criminal justice system. I can understand both of that. Okay, it's intersectionality. I get it. I believe it. But again, in that moment, Terry Crews should have just shut the fuck up. In that moment, he should have shut up and not said shit. Because what he did in that moment was pretty much dismiss her and basically make her out to be a liar. It's the same thing like, well, They always manage to find that one black person is like, hey, everything's great here. This is a great working environment. When the rest of the black people are complaining, you always find that one person like, no, this is great. We're having such a great time here. They got black people on stage and white people and Asian people. This is the most diverse place I've ever worked in my entire life. That is what he said. I mean, the tap dancing was real in that moment. And Terry Crews should be really ashamed of himself simply because all he needs to do is go back and look at who was supporting him, who was standing with him when the black men were making fun of you when you got your penis. They was like, dude, how you gonna stand there and let somebody grab your shit? Black men were not standing with Terry Crews. Black men were absolutely not standing with Terry Crews. They was calling him all kinds of names. Like I said, you might remember him and D.L. Hughley. He threatened D.L. Hughley because D.L. Hughley's like, dude, how you going to stand there and let somebody just grab your shit? All right. But Gabrielle Union was one of the first people to stand up for him. One of the first people to stand up for this man. And listen, be honest with you, I'm not a huge Gabrielle Union fan. I mean, I'm not crazy about her as far as like her as an actress and stuff like that, but it don't matter. That doesn't matter in this moment. What matters is that I do believe her, and I absolutely believe that she experienced every last thing that she said she experienced in that moment. And Terry Crews could have been an ally in that fight for her and keep his job by just not saying shit. And if he wanted to say something, he could have supported his sister in that moment by just remaining silent. He could have said, you know, listen, I'm so sorry that this is happening. No, I cannot speak as a black woman. I cannot speak as a black woman. So I'll just say I can't speak as a black woman. I wish her well. I'm praying for her. But no, he just, again, went out of his way to save himself. And black women, we've got to stop caping. We've got to stop putting the cape. We put the cape on for black men. And what happens? A lot of them throw us under the bus. They don't stand up for us like they stand up for. We put the cape on for white women. When they be out there with the Me Too, I done told y'all asses about running out there with them white women when it come to the Me Too, and they don't do shit for us. They don't never stand for us and what we're dealing with. They don't. They don't. They're like, you know, we're all the same. We should be treated equal. We're just all one big family. Yes, that's why Donald Trump was elected by 52% of y'all, because we're all the same, right? 52% of white women elected Donald Trump, but now they want us to stand with them or you know, in other situations. So it's like, black women, y'all got to take the cape off and save yourselves, because nobody else is going to ride for you like you. All right. And Terry Crews has just proven once again that it's hard to trust a lot of our men. I don't believe that all black men are like that, but it just keeps happening, y'all. It keeps happening that black women are just go out of their way to save all the black men, and they can't do the same for us. So what do y'all think about this? What do y'all think about Terry Crews pretty much throwing Gabrielle Union under the bus? All right. Do you think that it was fair for him to answer for himself, or do you think he should have just been quiet? Because like I said, I could see both sides. I could see him wanting to save his job, but there was another way he could have done that and just not throwing her under the bus, because she caped for him. Anyway, let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys on the next video.